help me stand and help me welcome to the stage our future guest for tonight, Dr. Wright.
Thank you. I'm full of gratitude tonight. It's bubbling out all over. It is unusual. And for me, a one-in-a-lifetime occurrence. To have patients and friends to honor me to the extent that your presence here does. I don't know where to start with how I got here initially from my mother's womb or when I arrived in Natchez. Both of those were some dynamite occasions. At any rate, I'm going to sit down and try to share with you some of my experiences. A few have been negative, but I survived over them. And I want you to know.
Oh, you might.
Use the mic.
Thank you, John. I want you to know how fortunate I feel to be so honored. Come on, baby. When I first had the first opportunity to come to Mississippi, I came at a dental school classmate's request. If you can remember the Dr. Martin Luther King Poor People's March in the mule train that left from Marks, Mississippi, that had to be like maybe 68. I guess not, Mr. Braxton, not many folk in here. Not many folk in here but us. But students from Howard was to go back to Marks, Mississippi and provide treatment for the Head Start children, dental treatment. And the law was that they had to be supervised by a dental professor. So the professor said, well, we're going to come down there and take the board so we can be licensed to supervise the dental students. And they were junior and senior students. Some professors who had published books, Mississippi, opened their eyes because they told them, you don't know nothing, and failed every one of them.
This is at Howard University?
This was in Mississippi. They came to Mississippi.
Okay.
At that time, Mississippi did not have a dental school. You got your board training in Memphis at the University of Tennessee. And you pass that board, and what do they call that? When you pass, there's a word for it. When you take the board in one state and you have privilege in another state. Reciprocity. Reciprocity. Thank you. And it also announced that I am an officer in the CRS Club.
What is that? What is that? A Benny Wrightism.
Can't remember.
Some stuff. Let's keep it PG. Something. Well, Dr. Wright, let's backtrack a little bit, because most of the folks in this room know you as the dentist in Natchez, the black dentist of Natchez. But take us back to the world from which you emerged in Florida, right? Is where you were born. What part of Florida?
Fort Myers, Florida, Lee County, Florida.
Fort Myers, Florida. So tell us about your childhood and growing up. Were you silver spoon kind of guy?
Okay, well, before I do that, let me announce that one of the most prominent sportsmen in the country, Deion Sanders, was born in Lee County, Florida.
All right.
The same county I came from. However, when he came along, the schools had been integrated. When I came along in 1956, if you dreamed about playing at an SEC school, you might have got arrested. But we survived. And I earned a Granite A, a football scholarship to Bethune-Cookman College.
Okay.
As a quarterback and a wide receiver. And people like Earl looked at the doc, you ain't played no ball, you ain't played no football. But the proof is back there on the tape.
Okay.
That granite is one of my most prized possessions for guys who want to insist that I didn't play no ball. And at that time, there were only two places in Florida the black boy could get a granite. He could play football, Bethune-Cookman College or Florida A&M. So if you can think for a moment, if you're a football fan, think of the black players that are in the NCAA level in Florida, in the number of schools there. Florida State, the University of Florida, Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Miami, Florida International. All of these players now, at least 60 to 70% of the players on these teams are all black. And so if you can imagine, that much talent was condensed into two schools in 1956. And you had people like Bob Hayes, who went to Florida A&M, who set a world record in the United States Olympics. And today, in Mississippi, we had Walter Payton,
Right.
Jerry Rice, McNair.
Steve.
Well, today, if you could raise a football over your head, the University of Mississippi State not gonna let you out this state.
So you get a football scholarship to Bethune-Cookman.
Yes.
But I want you to tell us about
There's a copy of it's back there. Let me say this one more thing. One more thing. It was 300.
I'm just here as a prop, by the way.
It was a $300 scholarship. And a black woman with 4 children to feed, who made 50 cents an hour, $20 a week, couldn't possibly come up with $300 for her oldest son to go nowhere. But I also had an academic scholarship to Marshall College in Atlanta, Georgia,
Okay.
in which I was able to maintain the scholarship as long as I stayed on the honor roll. So I thought that I could combine the two. I would take the academic scholarship and go out for a walk on the football team. And an interesting story is, the morning I arrived at Morris Brown, and Jackie, don't tell your daughters, I'm gonna tell that $220 bill story. This is a story my daughters have heard so when I cook my mom. Daddy, don't tell nobody else that story. And I left Fort Myers with two $20 bills to go to Morris Brown, for which they had offered me an academic scholarship. So my smart tale was, I'm going to apply as a walk-on to get a football scholarship to take care of my room and board, and the academic scholarship would take care of my tuition. And at that time, tuition, I think like $700 for the whole year, like $350 a semester. But so I arrived in Morris Brown. At that time, the bus lines and the bus stations and everything else was segregated. So when I got off the bus in Atlanta, had this big bus station, I looked around, and it was segregated, and they had a little slot window about like this. And the black folk were on this side, and the white folk were on this side. So if you wanted some food, you went up to the one that ordered. But the slot permitted you the opportunity to see on the other side. There was a tune by Bill Dawkins called Honky Tonk. If any of you might remember that. He played it on. You never heard? I'm sorry, you're a youngster. At any rate, the black folk were throwing down. They had a dance they called Atlanta Bop.
All right.
And the guys had little hats like this, and they had hats.
All right. Here we go.
My legs are too stiff for me to do it. You kick this leg behind and that one in front, and your hat would be waving.
All right. So you went to college to party, is what you're saying?
Pardon me?
You went to college to party.
I had no idea that they partied. family had ever graduated from high school before I did.
Wow.
My mama thought she had her. My boy is smart. And so she was so happy. None of her sisters, brothers, cousins, and nobody. So.
But your mom had to put you back on track a couple of times because there were people who would offer you jobs,
Yeah,
right?
that's another story.
Right.
That was during the period a little bit later when Kennedy, the weekend, the President Kennedy was killed. I had just gotten out of the Army and I'd been released. And in Moorhaven, Florida is on Lake Okeechobee. And my stepdad knew I loved to fish and he had a buddy that had a boat. And he was also a numbers operator.
A number runner.
Yeah.
He ran a gambling ring. Okay.
He had other numbers runners brought their tickets to him.
Right.
And he paid them off.
Right. And he wanted to give you a job,
Well,
and you were going to take the job, but your mom said,
now first I went fishing with him, he impressed me. And I was 25 years old, and he told me, boy, you got a good head on you. He saw me operate, it wasn't a calculator, it was just an ad machine, you know what you turn. And when they brought their tickets in, I was running the ad machine, boy, you got a good head on you. We could do wonders together. So I said, how's that? He said, well, I got a job for you. You'll do good at it. I said, well, what do I have to do? He said, I'll tell you about the benefits first.
that's how they always get you, man, the benefits.
Well, I was 25 years old. First, he showed me he had a room full of shotguns, rifles, and pistols. Other black folk had pawn jewelry and other items to him because he had already sold some money. So he showed me that. And then he showed me he had an apartment building. And there were 10 apartments, and he said 9 of these apartments was filled with single black teachers. So,
benefits.
yeah, I caught myself, and I looked around. His wife had a cafe, and she would sell food in the evening. So he said, boy, I'm gonna pay you $50 a week. All you got to do is run the ad machine from 12 to about 2 o'clock. I'm gonna give you a Pontiac and a gas car, and every once in a while, you're gonna go to ball night. Ball night was where the gamblers and these undercover businessmen operated. And they'd have big dances and balls, and I'm gonna take you to Palm Beach. This little town was halfway between Palm Beach and Miami. I'm gonna take you and get you some clothes and stuff, and you'll be there. So I was excited about it.
But you go home and tell your mom, and what did she say?
I went home and told my mama knew him. And I told him that Mr. John offered me a job, and he's gonna pay me $50 a week, and he's gonna give me a car to drive, and I didn't tell her about the apartments, but
of course not.
we would go fishing and hunt every day. So she looked around at me and shook her head. I'm thinking she's gonna be excited. She said, baby, you're the only person who's been to college in this whole family. And damn, you ain't the biggest damn fool of all. You can imagine, a balloon when you stick a pin in there.
Yeah.
My enthusiasm start shrinking. So,
but thank God for your mom, because otherwise we might not have had a Dr. Benny Wright. Right?
Maybe not, but I might have wouldn't have made 26.
Well, look, so you enter into, you get the scholarships, and where were you ultimately graduate from which school?
Morris Brown College.
Morris Brown.
What I did, there's another story. When I approached the football coach with my scholarship from Bethune-Cookman, the man that I still despise, who was the crudest human being I have ever met. That's an introduction. That was Edwin J. Clemens, Ox Clemens. They named him Ox appropriately. That Sunday morning, I thought, when you went to college, you had a suit and a tie. You know, I had no counseling at all. So when I got back in the cab from the bus station, I got to the college. The coach was on the steps, you know, traditional colleges with big steps. He was holding court, and all the football team was sitting around him just about like that. So I rushed in, and I rushed up and opened my luggage, and the copy of the football scholarship back there on that table. It was fresh then, I had it in my hand. And I walked up to him and I said, excuse me, sir, are you football? Yeah. I said, I'm Benny Wright, a freshman. I have an academic scholarship, and I also have a football scholarship from Bethune-Cookman. And I would like to have an opportunity to try out for Morris Brown's team. I'm sure that if you would issue me some shoes, towels, equipment, and playbook, I'll make the team. So he said, you will, huh? And let me see. With pride, I stuck my chest out and handed him the same scholarship. He shook his head. He said, he looked at me and said, this scholarship is on? I said, yes, sir. He said, why you didn't take it? I said, Coach, I had to have $350, and there was no way I could raise that amount of money. And, but I had academic scholarship at Morris Brown, so I could play football if you give me the opportunity and go to school full time. He shook his head. Said, no, you should have took it. I said, you know, at that time I thought if you went to college, you were a professor. You were conservative, you wore a tie every day, and you were about business. And so I said, Coach, if I needed $300 and I didn't have the $300, why should I go over there and take a scholarship when I didn't have the money? He said, well, you should have took it. So I said, why? He said, you should have took it because the little nigga ain't worth a quarter. I ain't, just like you laughed, all the football teams fell out. Some of them was on the floor.
Wow.
And these guys, some of these guys, big line and whatnot. You know. So I had my little suit on. So I took my letter and I started back in the dormitory. When we got by, I got by as far as that happened, and he said, besides, can't no doubt they play no damn football nowhere. I had on my little suit and tie. So all of the football team, from that moment on, started calling me Dap Daddy. And to this day, I've had classmates come and visit me in my office on Martin Luther King. See my name on the sign, Dr. Benny Wright. Come in, ask my receptionist, is this Dap Daddy off? And I said, who?
Well, you living up to the name tonight, man. You looking really good tonight. Don't we look good, y'all? Yeah. You fresh.
Boy, the smoke is coming out.
So, Doc, listen. So you, during your time in the military,
I got drafted.
You got drafted into the military. Didn't want to go or did want to go? Willingly or unwillingly?
Well,
Use the mic.
In 1961, the Russians had built the Berlin Wall. And Kennedy was drafted 40 to 50,000 young men or more. I had no desire to serve in the United States Army. None. I couldn't vote. I couldn't eat a hamburger at Cress's. I couldn't sit anywhere I wanted. There was a seat on the bus. Right. So why should I go face the Berlin Wall and possibly get shot?
Right.
So I decided I would play games with the draft board. I got a letter from Selective Service. You youngsters probably don't know anything about it, but I got a letter from a local board in Fort Lee County, Florida, said, report to them said that I had moved to Atlanta. And would you please change my local board? They did. When the local board from Atlanta called me, I sent them a letter that I had moved back to Florida. So evidently, somebody, the local board or somebody noted that. So the next one I got was a joint board. And I wound up being inducted into the Army at Ponce de Leon Station, Atlanta, Georgia, September 29, 1961.
Yeah.
So I went on reluctantly. And I was also based on that Army IQ value, whether I wanted to go to the infantry, artillery, or basic science and experimental zoology. Obviously, I checked that. And so I didn't have to, I had basic training. And then they sent me to my permanent duty station, which was Edgewood Arsenal, Maryland.
What year was this?
1961.
61. Okay, so we have a piece of art back there on that table that you carved while you were in the military?
Yes.
Tell us about that piece of art. And you had that art in your locker on the base, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that piece of art back there.
Well, first, the introduction to my initiation to do that. 4 little girls had gotten killed in Birmingham.
Right. 16th Street Baptist Church.
So I was bitter about this, the extremity. But it was either do what you told or go to jail. So I was in the process of reading a book called The Goddamn White Man by Barry Latine. It had its setting in Africa with the Mau Mau in Kenya, or it was in South Africa. I'm fading on the setting, but in the cover of this book was a picture of a slave with ankles around his chain. Chain around his ankles, and a shackles, and he had a huge dagger over his head. And he had this white man by the throat. And above that was a sword. So I read that and I carved it on that piece of walnut. This
Look on the edge of that table right there. That's right. Oh, that, yeah, bring it for me. Thank you so much. Wow. So you carved this.
I carved that and I put it in my wall locker. If you've been in the military, you know they have 2 lockers.
Mm-hmm.
Your civilian locker and your military locker.
Use your mic out.
Your civilian locker or your military locker. So I had that obviously in my civilian locker. So on this occasion, I'll never forget this guy, was a second lieutenant named Sheets, big old fat white guy from Iowa. The civil rights movement was rolling everywhere then. So we had what's called an IG inspection. You had to, everything had to be buttoned in place. The shirts had to be buttoned, sleeves had to be buttoned, shoes had to be shined, brass had to be polished, and so on. So in the military law, or you got gigs, that's a point leading to treatment, punishment for not having failed the inspection. So on the military side, I had that, and on the civilian side, I had my little civilian clothes. And with that, this carving was there. So I snapped to attention, the lieutenant came by over my line, I saw him go. And when he saw it, he started turning red, and I'm standing there with a big smile on my face. And he said, "Wright?" "Yes, sir." "What does this mean?" "This art, sir." "Art? Art my ass." "What does it mean?" I said, "Art depends upon the level of sophistication of the view." to my other guy in my giggle. So, you gonna keep effing up, you going to jail. And wipe that damn smile off your face. So I stood there. And as he started to walk away, everybody, and my next bench in the same line, I don't believe I still have that. It's called a military profile. It's a medical restriction. And we have two types. The class ones could only be issued by Brooke Army Hospital in San Antonio, Texas, or Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C. And we were about 20 miles from D.C. So I was complaining about callous feet, that I could not do the prolonged standing, running, march, and jump. So, but I was playing on a base softball team. And that pissed everybody off. There was an officer. So, I didn't have to have shine boots because of this profile. It would hurt my feet. So I had on some desert boots. I don't see anybody in here, but they comparable to my wife's shoe, but they're suede type. The same that the U.S. Army used in Africa. That's how they got the name desert boots.
Okay.
At any rate, that's what I fell out in that morning for what do you call it, reveille. And I'm in line with his desert boots on. So what in the you think you doing, soldier? What is it, sir? You know, the other said, what's it? I'm like everybody wear these boots. What is it? I said, sir, I can't do it in prolonged standing running like, you know. Did I tell you that?
Pulled out your profile.
I pulled out the profile. So
after you had been playing baseball.
Yeah, and I would have to walk to go fishing. Oh, I guess about from here to the Junior Food Mart. And I go every day because it was cheap. And that's all I could buy on $68 a month. So he said, the company commander won't see you. The company commander, I showed him, he said, we're going to take this SHIT from you because you don't know how to act. I said, yes, sir.
They want to take your profile.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So you have a doctor on the post, but he's just an MD. And the Army regulations say the profile issued by Walter Reed could only be rescinded by one.
I got you.
So the company commander sent me over there from to take the profile. So when I got in, I was like, yes, sir. I understand you have a problem, Private Wright. I said, yes, sir, my feet hurt for long running, standing, and jumping. He said, do you play softball? I said, sometime when they're not hurt. So he looked at me kind of askance and said, well, are you causing a problem in the company? And your company commander wants his profile taken, prepared to render. So I reached in my pocket and got it and folded it out. I said, sir, may I make a comment? Yeah. I read him the AR regulation, so and so and so and so, profile issue, book on it, medical center, Walter Reed can only be rescinded by those hospitals. If I have to, without this, I have to go back to Walter Reed and tell him, you took my profile. He said, God damn it, I see why they set your ass over there. You a smart ass. You a smart ass. So, and wipe that damn smile off your face.
So in other words, you've been using your intelligence to work the systems and maneuver and advance yourself in ways that you felt appropriate.
Well, there was no advancement for me in the Army. I finally got promoted to PFC, which I stayed about 4 weeks. We had on Friday, they have a motivational officer come and give the troops a speech. Well, all of these guys were college men, including myself. And this colonel came in and he gave us a talk about how important it was and how successful we were and lucky that we had a top secret security clearance. In experimental zoology, we were testing animals with a nerve gas that many years later Hussein used on the curs. I was a part of the team that built that as a private.
So, Dr. Wright, I want to move us forward just a bit because you come out of the military and you enter, I think in the 1970s, you were here in Mississippi. How did you get to Mississippi? I think you started in Jefferson County, is that right?
Yes.
So from Howard University School of Dentistry, how did you get to Jefferson County, Mississippi, of all places?
Okay, I loved it. That was one of them. But when I got discharged from active duty, and that's 3 stories right there. But when I left, the guard on post stopped me and said, "Private Wright?" I said, "Yes, sir." Stop. And they searched my car. What you search my car? He said, "Your company commander called up and said, check your car because you were going to do something stupid." I said, "Not today." And I went back to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I applied for a position with the Veterans Administration. And I got a position as a microbiologist.
Okay.
And so then I met this young lady who needed some orthodontic treatment. I was planning on going to medical school at that time. I met her, and I had a pot boiling in Atlanta, and I had a pot boiling in Savannah. And so keeping up those 2 pots kept me busy. So I suggested to the Savannah pot that you get your teeth straight. And orthodontists would do that. And I thought that would slow down her coming to Atlanta every 2 weeks. Well, it turns out there was not a black orthodontist that I could contact in Atlanta, Georgia. And I went to my regular dentist and asked for him to refer me. He said he could not. He could not refer me to a white orthodontist. This was 1963. I had just gotten out of London, and I was working for the VA, and that's when I met this young lady. So she was something going to be entertainment that summer.
And she was what?
Going to be entertainment.
She was going to be entertained. Okay. Got it.
I had a buddy who was also from Orange Brown who taught school in the public school system. Some of you, many of you who were at my 80th birthday party, he came, the same guy. He and I had a 2-bedroom apartment. He taught school. He was the only one of 2 male teachers at the elementary school. They had 53 black teachers. So we had an agreement. You know how young lady, I ain't going unless she go, I ain't going with you. Well, we had an agreement. No matter what she looked like, no matter how crossed her eyes were, no matter how big the warts on her face were, we had agreed you gonna entertain whoever's in my way, and I'm gonna do the same for you. And so that's how I met Mrs. Wright.
Okay.
She was in the way, and I gave her a copy of my resume.
You said she was in the way. Okay.
I was what they call it in the military, my wingman.
Right.
I was his wingman.
Okay.
And she was sitting out there like a bump on the log, and I'm trying to get friendly, and she, you're gonna break my arm. I don't know you that way. I said, okay. I was looking for the job as a microbiologist, and I had some resumes left. So I went into bed again. This is my resume. Anything you need to know about me is right here. So the information supplied upon request.
Wow.
So evidently,
That's a different kind of game. You had her resume.
evidently I got the job. She's been on the case 6 years.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations.
From there, I was going to go to graduate school in microbiology, Georgia State. So they told me my background wasn't strong enough because I went to an HBC, which was a small school in Atlanta. So I asked them, would you give me a chance to see? He said, well, we'll give you a chance to take a couple of courses to see how you do. I aced both of them. When I got a grade, I'm marching back in the dean's office, knowing that I'm gonna have to fill out an application to start grad school. He said, well, you did very well here, but we will have to text you some more. So I said, the 2 classes that I took, will that be on my transcript? He said, well, you don't get the credit on the transcript unless you're admitted to the graduate program. I'm up nights, days, trying to run the Savannah to see her, and trying to pass the exams also. So I lost my student coup. I was 25 years old, been hustling all my life. Here I thought I'm about to get over this crap. So I lost my coup. And I went back to my racket balls in the pool all days. Maryland Farmer, if you don't get out my face, all y'all can. And I say that to them. Never get back, but I will let him. I hope he don't call nobody else. Because if anywhere else I go, I may get me a call, but
Doc, you gotta tell me how you got to, you're supposed to be telling me how you got to Jefferson County, Mississippi. Now look, it's 6:59 and we're still in 1963. We're trying to bring you up to about 1990, so we need you to jump to 1972 when you came to Jefferson County.
about 10 years.
10 years.
Going with her, getting married, and going to getting to Howard Dental School and getting the help from another student to help me pass 2 semesters of physics, and later to get an appointment to come to Fed as a consultant. The Medgill's Health Center was trying to build a dental facility.
Use your mic.
They were trying to build a dental facility. So one of my buddies, another ne'er-do-well, had great fun in Senatobia, Mississippi, with the freedom train. He was saying, boy, at 2 o'clock in the morning, we want to see the doctors from Howard. So you got to go to Mississippi. So I came to Fayette, and Dr. Humphrey, Charles Humphrey, recruited me. And he introduced me to Mr. Evans, who said, what kind of problem you have, we can solve it. You ain't got to worry about the police. We the chief of police.
This is Mr. Charles.
Yeah.
Is he the mayor at this point, or is he just the
He
city?
was the mayor at that time.
Okay, in Jefferson County, Fayette, Mississippi. Okay.
So he said, I always need some young black doctors like you with some talent. You ain't got to worry about the police. We got the money. All you got to do is do your job. I fell in love with him. That was what I wanted to do. Be in a situation where I could treat patients whether they had any money or not. The only thing that would limit me was my skill and my ability to serve them. So to shorten the story even more, I took the bait, I rushed back home, and I called Jack and said, I got something to tell you. And what? I tell you when I get there. I get back, I said, we're gonna move to Mississippi. What?
Because now if you're living in where at this
We're in
point?
Washington, D.C.
Living in Washington, D.C., okay.
I had just started a practice there. And I told and infatuated with everybody shook my hand in Jefferson County. We're glad to see you, doctor. What we need, I'm just great.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And at any rate, Mr. Wright refused to come.
Uh-oh.
So, that Christmas, that was 2 days before our 4th anniversary. So that Christmas, I pulled the trail from my position, and the political powers in Fed got me a trail after I lived on Union Street for a week. So I moved to Fed, and I fell in love with Fed. The people were the friendliest. The only problem I had with the house that I did get was right on 61. And on Saturday, I'd be cutting the little grass. I couldn't cut the grass. Mom, hey, Doc. Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
I loved it, but it took me 4 or 5 hours to cut the grass.
Yeah.
Everybody told me, well, my thoughts were, you knew in town. You got to build a relationship with the community. You can't let them think you studied.
Yeah.
Or stuck up.
Right.
Is the way. Well, I didn't have no problem. Next thing they know is a guy called Leroy Cole. He was taking me to one of the best fishing spots in Jefferson County, between Alcorn and Rodney.
Okay.
So then I ran into a problem.
Uh-oh.
There was another dentist. I brought a hygienist with me from Washington, D.C., and I had 5 dental assistants that I had trained. Loved it. We built a dental clinic in a green wooden frame building, was just sitting there.
Wow.
So I loved it. I'd go to work in the morning. Sometimes I'd come home at 10 o'clock because I had to show the problem. I would run the pipe under the building to get them in the treatment. Or we didn't have anything to put on the walls, so I went to a fabric shop. And we had some scraps of fabric. I put them on boards like this, stapled them on the back, hung them on the wall. That was the decor. And it went well, because they had not been in many dental. Because the dentist who was there didn't even take x-rays.
But you might back up.
Half of the instructions he did got infected. He took no x-rays, prescribed no antibiotics or anything.
Wow.
Half of the patients I saw, this side was swollen. The zygomatic and all that was blown out.
Wow.
When a simple penicillin would have taken care of that. But anyway, I was approached by the project director, who was also the mayor.
Don't tell it all, man. I know where we're going. Go ahead, tell the story. Tell the story. You gotta tell the story. Put it on the record.
Head Start, we had a grant. Don't hold me to it. I think it was like $38,000 or $39,000. This was the middle of December. And we had been informed by the Head Start director that we had to use this grant up by the end of February.
Right.
It was going to expire. So I had another dentist, a hygienist, 5 assistants, and we had about 35 to 40 Head Start kids. I said, we don't have no problem with this. All I need is a receipt or letter or statement from the child's mother or guardian that we could treat the child. I'm ready to go. And I said, so as soon as you get me that, we can start. We didn't get it. So the mayor came and visited me.
And let's just say you had a disagreement.
And anyway, we had a disagreement.
Yes.
And I forgot myself. And I suggested he go back to the mayor's office or some other warm place. So at that time, he was in the opposing, very huge dominant structure. I was thicker than I am now. I was 35 years old, so that was 50 years or whatever you experience. But anyway, he told me he was the man, he runs it. So finally, I told him who I was and told him what I was inclined to do with a pair of forceps. So it surprised him. You look at me. You done lost your mind? When I grew up, if you front it, a man, if you front it, you don't back off, you don't step back. You stand there and get your butt tore up, but you don't step back or you might run on. Well, he was about 6'2", about 240. I was 5'9". I was probably weighing 175, 180. I stepped too. He stepped, you done lost your mind. And my sisters, they thought I had too. Everybody's mouth was down on their chin. So he walked away. I went back on the lawn in about 15 minutes. I had cooped it up. Reality set in. I looked in the mirror and I had a message to myself. Boy, you have
Messed up.
that wasn't the thought I had. So, I told my sisters, yo, answer the phone. I'm gonna run home for a few minutes. Well, the dental clinic is a couple of blocks from my house. I went home to my recent ride. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I just left at 9. You know it wasn't for lunch. What you doing, baby? I said, I got something to tell you. So I told her of my confrontation with Miss Ellis. I thought she was going to be upset because she wasn't working. I was the only one working, and I just told Miss Ellis that he could masturbate. Think about it a minute now. The other term is even more common. So I told her, I thought she was going to be upset. Oh, hold on, what we going to do? Guess what her remark was? Did you bring some boxes?
Time to go.
She was ready to go big.
Yeah.
But we cooled off.
Yeah. And how long did you stay in Jefferson County practicing after?
After I left the dental facility that day.
Okay.
But I remained, and I accepted an appointment on the board of directors
Okay.
at the health center.
Okay.
And I thought I could provide some medical enlightenment in terms for the board members. And I started off with the health department. And we had a foreign doctor. The only thing we had in his personnel file was his name and social security number.
Wow.
And right during that period, in the Northwest United States, there was a slate of unqualified men posing as doctors in small towns.
Oh, wow.
But so that was my first thought. So I insisted that we get a curriculum vitae on Dr. Chu. And he and I had a falling out about, he wanted me to explain to him why he telling black folk high blood pressure don't kill them, and they stay buying pork chops. I told him, that's where we from, mentally. But at any rate, so from that board, then I moved to I had started to open a part-time office here. And I was going to work here at Natchez. Yeah, okay. And so I did, well, when I got fired, or I fired myself, I had even afraid, I came and started working in the same building, right there at 4A, full time. And on December, that happened on December 7th. And I had a local attorney handle my paperwork. I had an SBA loan that I had to be refused by 2 banks. And I did it. Obviously, the 2 banks had no problem refusing. And so my attorney insisted that I produce a receipt for the materials and equipment that I bought. I said, well, I can't do that until you sign the check to give me the money to do it. Yeah, no, but we got to have this on the record. So he delayed me several months. I finally got him to tell, well, you ain't gonna get a penny until you sign this thing. So fine. he relented. And I opened the office on April 15th at 9 o'clock, 1974.
Wow.
Mr. George West Sr.
Right.
He was having a funeral. And he had a secretary right at the edge of the parking lot. In the morning that I opened, it looked like there were 10 or 15 men I assumed to be ministers because of their attire. And he was looking to point at my office. So in about 15 to 20 minutes, he sent his son John over to ask me, did I have any business cards? And I did. So I saw him passing out business cards.
Wow.
So, you know, I wanted to run over there and hug him. I really didn't know anybody else.
This is George West Sr. Okay.
So then about 20 minutes later, I got this big bouquet of roses. And they were from the West Flower Shop.
Oh, wow.
You know, a big bouquet of roses in a plant similar to this from my office.
Wow.
And welcome to Natchez. The community needs you, and that made me almost as happy and proud as you make me feel tonight.
Oh, wow. And you practiced ministry here in Natchez for how many years?
From that point until the 9th, 2009.
2009.
I practiced dentistry. I saw gobs of patients. I was on AJFC's board of directors. I later evolved to be chairman. Later, I served on the school board.
Yeah.
I served on the NAACP's board of directors.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. You have had haters of all spaces, paces, and races. And back there on that table is a folder that you have kept of a petition of sorts, I guess. You were starting tell the story.
What I did was the Natchez School Board auctioned off the Thompson football field.
At the Sadie B. Thompson.
At the Sadie B. Thompson, where the games had been played in the practice field. It was comprised of either 11.8 acres or 8.11 acres. Extended opportunity for the community to submit bids for this piece of property. So I thought about it. I said, well, it ain't gonna hurt me to submit a bid, which I thought was lowball, but nobody bid on it but me.
Wow. What year was this?
I forgot. Well, it's been more than 25 years.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact date. I've had at least 5 or 6 visits from ministers from the General Baptist Convention interested in buying that property, so they indicated. But to this day, nobody's ever come back to us again.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to be a part of the community. The reason I came,
Use your mic.
the reason I came, so I didn't have to treat patients. Did not have to refuse patients because they could not pay. At the health center, all they had to do was present themselves, and I got paid. And that was ideal words for me. But back to my welcome to Natchez, I did things like to be a part of the community. Mr. Braxton and I put together a group to try to stop the infighting between the political leaders in our community.
Wow.
We call it, didn't call it the League of Organizations.
Yeah.
What we
United League of Opposition.
United League, what we tried to do with his help was get the leaders of the social and civic organizations in our community to form a group so that if we had an issue, we could deal with it in-house instead of putting it in the Democrat.
Yeah.
Which made us look bad that our political leaders fighting each other for leadership. The NAACP supposed to do this and they criticizing that instead of solving our problems and bring them to the fore with some cohesiveness. So we tried to do that. At one point, we lost. I'm trying to remember why we lost the school board, but the mayor suggested that the NAACP give him a recommendation to put on the school board. And so we had a meeting, a community meeting, and asked the community, everybody who came, to nominate a party to serve on the school board. And the only recommendation Mr. Braxton and I and Reverend Wendell Green had, the recommendation was that the person we select have at least the school experience.
Yeah.
We thought that on the school board, it would be to our benefit to have someone who had a college degree.
Okay.
So we suggested that. What did we do? No, indeed. You ain't got to have no degree. You can be successful without going to college. We had a flow fight. In the end, we appointed 2 people who did not have a college degree and who had been most vocal about that not being a requirement.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Why?
No, I said wow.
Oh,
Wow.
I was about to answer that.
Oh, I know you were ready for that. But tell us about, so you buy the field, you buy the Thompson field, and you want to develop affordable housing.
Well, first, remember when the boat first came? At that time, there was supposed to be 4 boats. Only one came. In thinking that I'm planning ahead, I bought a football field. My idea was to make that a parking lot because there would not be enough parking space on the river for 4 gambling boats. At that time, I thought there was going to be 1,000 people there every night. I didn't know that money was going to run out. But at any rate, that was my initial idea: to gravel that lot, have a watchman, and let and take a bus to take the employees to the casinos and bring them back. And so I thought that I could turn that into a profit, particularly by suggesting to the casinos that they could take the parking that their employees were using and put it on my parking lot so that their customers could park down on the river. But at any rate,
Good idea, by the way.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I ran into some opposition. My friends, the same friends and neighbors that Kennedy told me had selected me, they were on West Steers Lane. What's that other street back there? Alabama Street? Alabama Street. McIntyre in particular. I want to remark on that. It was a site, but that was the street that one of the prominent night spots or something. Vernon's and Taylor's on the hill. So we had lots of traffic going through there.
Rainbow Driving.
Well, that was a little before my time. I heard about it. But at any rate, on McIntyre. Well, when I approached the county to permit me to lease a portion of the football field, that's I'm ahead of myself, to let me develop some low-income housing on that, and we had done that successfully, and so when we got to the supervisor's building, it was packed, and they had this lengthy petition.
It's back there on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all the games.
That's the one that your mother.
Yeah.
I still have it. I kept it initially to be vindictive, but I learned that if you put acid in a tin pot, leave it there a while, it's going to eat the bottom out the bottom. So I backed away from that, but I kept it.
Yeah. What did you learn from that? Because on that list, I read through some of those names on that petition. There are names that people will recognize on there. So your haters weren't just necessarily.
Well, I got all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. What did you learn? I want to
The
know.
most prominent one was you don't want to put all the voters in District 4. That's going to be all these poor people. Well, these are what we're trying to get arrested anyway. The next thing was, it's going to lower our property values. I got that off village of several houses, people who lived on McIntyre at that time. Kudzu vine was holding the house. You go through there, some of them was abandoned, but people signed a petition as if they lived there.
Wow.
So, but I sat back and I decided, well, you're going to have to find another alternative. So what I did then was I owned 4 acres, 4 big lots rather, on Lower Woodville Road. And so they wanted to boycott that. They went to the Board of Supervisors because they were complaining that I was still trying to put all of the black voters in this District 4. So some of the people carried a petition. One lady in particular had a trailer over by Armstrong. She's complaining about lowering property values in West Steels Lane, the main street that faces Natchez College. Is that Union Street? All right, what the thoughts were that I'm going to lower the property values. So, and so they told the supervisor we had to have the approval of the supervisor to get the grant to build it. So they told the Board of Supervisors not to permit me that grant to build that.
Wow.
It cost them nothing now.
Wow.
I was going to have to borrow the match money to go along with this grant, which I eventually did from United Mississippi Bank. But so at that point, I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting, and they was led by a prominent preacher and a couple of others who said that you couldn't do that, it's going to cause traffic jams and blah, blah, blah. And they asked this minister where he was from. And he said he was from Fayette.
Wow.
Circulating this petition.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Boyd is the older supervisor. What Boyd Sojourner or supervisor is? You remember him? He was an older fellow. So he had this southern drawl. Said, well, by Jimmy, fella, what county you say you live in? Jefferson County. By Jimmy, this Adams County. So low, I thought his nose was gonna hit the floor.
Wow.
He backed out.
Wow.
So I told the Board of Supervisors I appreciated their faith in me. And however, would they consider, since my brothers objected to this site in Thompson, would they consider a site in another district? Since that was their main complaint. So they asked me, where is the site? So what I gave them was a legal description. The supervisors applauded. Y'all object to that? They didn't know what he's talking about.
In place.
And that's how I got the Liberty Road Noble House apartment.
Wow.
And Mr. Braxton, I told you I had a secret to share with you.
Use the mic, God.
Yes, sir.
You recommended me to look at a grant to the state. It's an act, Cranston-Gonzalez Housing Act. Mississippi had some money for grants. You suggested that I look into that. I proceeded with that, and that's who funded a part of the Noble House Apartments.
Wow.
I want to thank you beyond all measure. I told him last week or so I had a surprise for him.
Wow.
And I want to thank you publicly.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you.
I would say that's one of the few things
Yeah.
he's done.
Wow.
In 42 years of service, these counties, he kept many of them out of trouble.
Well, maybe we'll have to interview Mr. Braxton next.
Might be wrong.
So look, let me ask, I want to ask one final question, then we're going to open it up for the audience to ask some questions from you. I know that one of the crowning achievements of your life is the redistricting that you got done. Tell us about that. We have that back on the table.
Part of that too work. Obviously, this is
Use your mic, Doc.
this is 30-some years ago. I think 32 or 34 years ago. 70 or 80% of the black registered voters in Adams County was in District 4. You had 2 or 3 here, 5 or 6 here in other districts. So the opposing strategy was, you let them have 1, and we gonna have 4 forever. And he gonna be helpless as the board supervisor. So I would ask you to give kudos and thanks to Bonnie Scobie, Philip West, Mr. W.L. Nelson, Charles Gaines, and Dr. Benny Wright was a place they could meet. And I felt that I was free from economic reprisal from the citizens who objected to that, because nobody could fire me but you. And I would say, yeah, well, you can charge so many times, you wasn't gonna fire me. But so we went to court. Then again, I thought Scobie was a main leader with the Southern Poverty Law School, am I right?
Law Center.
So he had contact with the lawyers and whatnot. So
What were y'all going to court for, though?
to redistrict
Okay.
Adams County, what we got was a judgment that said 2 districts in the county must be 63%, have a 63% black voting age population.
Okay.
1 more must have 50-50. So that gave us the opportunity to have 3 supervisors if we chose to work for them. I thought that gave us, in my opinion, that's all we need. Well, eventually, it came to pass that we did elect 3 black supervisors.
Wow.
However, I say with great caution, something that I learned. In addition to seeing a black face in position, let us make sure that we prepare them for the responsibility of that office so they can serve it. I know they want to serve it. But we've got to find a way.
Yeah.
For example, suppose we had, when the city wants to fund some particular activity, Billy Joe, what would they call that? You know, if they wanted to spend $5,000 to train a board member to how to balance the budget or whatever for board training for you, is that possible?
It's possible. Now they go to Congress and they have committees now that broke down.
Okay, all right. Well, my idea is have committees with the funds so that as new officers come, they are trained beyond whatever the extent is today.
That's such a great idea.
You know, that would be, to me, icing on the cake for those of us the voter registration drives and fish fries in your effort to increase the membership. We got to get them ready.
Yeah.
Just having a majority black board that is unable to capitalize on the power that they have is a waste. It's a waste.
Word to the candidates in the room. I see we have several.
Well, if they know me and approach me, they know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for you, but you have to stand there and give your donation.
Yeah.
But as I give you that bill, I'll be holding on one end, you holding on the other, while I tell you gonna have to represent us.
Yeah, and educate
You
yourself.
gonna have to represent us.
Yeah.
That's been a part of my appreciation when I see business go, when I see the tax collector,
Mm-hmm.
when I see the tax assessor. We did that
Yeah.
with that petition to redistrict this county.
Right.
Yeah.
We did that.
Yeah.
Well, now we got to bake this cake and it's got to be edible.
Yeah.
So we got to give them a recipe
Yeah.
and we got to see to it.
Yeah.
Let it be done.
Yeah.
And I hope to see that before I leave.
Well, we got some work to do. We gonna get it done.
Hold time, hold time.
Okay.
Take your time.
All right.
Time.
I get food. Because I spent the last 50 years of my life, and whether you know it or not, I love you too, Mom. I really do. I really do. I can't always put a dollar in your hand, but where possible, I give you a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Are there other instances, if I see you about to waste $8 that you work hard for, if I can give you a piece of advice to steer you away from that, I do so.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have recognized me, despite my transgression, I know I haven't been perfect. Done everything right.
Yeah.
But I love you.
Yeah. And we love you too, Doc. How about a round of applause for Dr. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So we have a few moments for a couple of questions. Alderman, come on up. Come up a little bit so we can. When you get a mic, I know you don't need one, but we're gonna give you one.
First and foremost, Doc, I want to thank you for all of your service. You and Mr. Braxton. Everything that Dr. Wright said is true. As a little boy growing up in West Lane on the corner of McIntyre, I know those people that you're talking about. I know that area. As of today, I wish that we didn't have the foresight then, because that whole neighborhood over there now is gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
The football field, I think we brought that in sometime in 1970, about 70, 75, 74, somewhere in there, because I played football on that field. And that field reminded me so much because we had a young man got killed my last year in high school playing football, Mr. Michael's grandson. So like I say, that area, I know all about that area, on that same field. So, again, Doc, I know what you need. And I could come to you anytime for any wisdom. And like I say, and like I said, I used to talk to him, but I couldn't talk to him because you're sitting down, because he started asking me questions, asked questions, coming back in, and I just couldn't answer. But like you say, Doc, what y'all did for the city of Natchez, you, like I said, Mr. Braxton, and I want to, like I said, I want to applaud him too, like I said, you get him too, because He had so much input into the community, both of them. I remember when Dr. Wright came in when he opened his office. And he always had been an asset. And like I said, we appreciate it. Give him a hand. At least sometimes, if you really know Dr. Wright, you might think he was black hair because he wears shirts. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Question, come on, we'll take this one, and then Ms. Prophet will take you. Give us your name and ask your question.
Dr. Wright, my name is Lavada here. And you know, with social media, our community is so divided on the information that we receive and what we can get. You know, you have Facebook, Instagram. Do you remember when Curtis Ross used to say at 10 o'clock, mothers, do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
What I would like to know, do you think there is a possible way that Natchez can have some type of communication platform that we can go and check on and see what's going on in Natchez? Because the citizens of Natchez don't have a root place where they can get their information from. 97.7, but you know, like when the mayor puts something on Facebook, who checks that all the time? Most of the people in the black community don't. So can you give us a suggestion of how we can pull together one source place where we can get all the information from?
Thank you.
I don't know if I can answer your question directly, but I have been long a proponent of communication in our community. The business organization, what do we call it again, Mr. Maxson? The leaders. So,
United League of Organizations.
The League of Organizations. That was an effort to do exactly what you're talking about. We thought that we had the president of the Eastern Star, the president of the Omega Psi-Phi, the blah, blah, blah. The NAACP, so that we could meet and disseminate information. This was before the full-blown arrival of the explosion of
Internet.
the internet.
Yeah.
But we do need communication. That's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Right, yes it is.
And the same thing is true with voting.
Yeah.
Right.
And getting the word around that we need to register, we're going to be challenged in district so-and-so.
Oh, we're gonna be kicked off the rolls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can't answer your question directly, but I can say this to you. If you find anybody who is able to put that together, I will give 100% of any support that I could possibly muster to help make it happen.
We're gonna hold you to that, Doc. Give me that.
Good evening. My name is Rosanna Prophet, and I know everybody here has been very positive about Dr. Wright and all of the good things that he has done and things that he has said. But I have something negative that I want to say about Dr. Wright. And I've told him this more than once, and I'm going to say it again. I regret that you retired, Dr. Wright. He was my favorite dentist for many years, and whenever I went in that office, he knew he had to use that gas, and he was like looking ready for that. So I miss you as being my dentist. Thank you.
Awesome. All right.
Smith, let me respond.
Okay.
I appreciate your missing me. But if I looked in your ear and said there's nothing wrong with that too, you know.
Hey, my name is Curtis Davis, and about 3 months ago, I had the pleasure of spending about 2 hours with Dr. Wright.
Oh boy.
He was cutting his grass. And I tell you, I looked at him and said, dude, you probably don't remember me, but I was 14 years old and I had a accident with a shotgun. And I knocked all of my teeth out, buckled under. And Dr. Wright was my doctor, and I don't know if we paid that bill or not, Doc, but I said, you were my doctor, but I don't know if we paid that bill or not. But you fixed my mind.
Skill there. You don't have to worry about the interest. Well, you couldn't pay the interest. How long ago that's been?
I'm 52 now, so. But Doc, again, I just want to thank you for that kind gesture because my family didn't have much money during that time, and you wired my mouth back, and he put wire in there, and the wire had lasted about a month, and then I went back later, and he had to do, I think, a root canal on one. So, thank you, Doc, and it's been a journey. Thank you.
All right. One last question. Well, this ain't the last question, Alderman.
Not right, I just want to say that the reason why you couldn't sell that football field, and I grew up in that area, I played and buy down there because there was too many bootleg steals over there. I'm not against whiskey, but bootleg whiskey has its risks.
Yeah.
So I back away. Mr. McIntyre was
Awesome. Well, how about one more round of applause for Dr. Wright? We want to again thank you guys for coming out again. I'm Joe Smith. I am the founder and the executive director of BlackNatchez.org, and we look forward to welcoming you to other programs of this sort. On the front of your program, you will see an email at the bottom of the program. If there is someone you think we should interview for our Lending History series, we'd like you to send us an email, recommend that person, tell us the significance that they've had here in the community, and we'd love to get them on stage to capture this. It's really important that we have a videographer here to capture this because this conversation will live on in perpetuity for years and years to come. Please also note on the back of the card, as I mentioned, there are opportunities to donate to our organization. All of your donations are tax deductible. Thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome to enjoy the food. Thank you to Busy Being Amazing. Zelia Smith, Busy Being Amazing, catering for the delicious food. So food and drinks over on the other side. Thank you guys for coming. Have a good night. Pictures here for you with Dr. Wright if you'd like to take a few.
I'm gonna linger a few minutes if there are any artifacts you need any donation. What
Yes.
they are, I'll hang around and,
Yes.
and try to explain them.
I would also like to personally thank Mrs. Jackie Wright. The food is compliments of Mrs. Jackie Wright. She provided the food. So please offer her your thanks tonight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.